This video is a closer look at Austerity tank engine Respite. I've known this engine since my early days of filming at Astley Green in 1969. And on a recent visit to the Yorkshire Dales, I was fortunate enough to meet the man who rescued Respite from the scrap heap. Like other parts of this series, this episode starts at the Embassy and Bolton Abbey steam railway, where a Great Western tank engine was preparing to leave Embassy with a Saturday afternoon train. Stephen Oakden and I travelled together to the other end of the line, and he explained how he got interested in industrial steam railways.
My father was very interested in shipping, and we had Preston docks, and we used to go down to Preston docks a lot. But when I was very small, the thing I was most interested in wasn't all the ships, it was the shunting engines on Preston docks. And it could be that that's the spin-off that's caused me to be so interested in industrial locomotives.
My interest in industrial steam came about when I was visiting friends, and I walked down a canal towpath and came across a colliery yard full of active steam engines. That was at Astley Green in 1968. I couldn't believe my luck that steam was still there after it finished on British Railways a month or two earlier. At Astley Green I got to know Respite as one of the regular engines, identified by the rough welded patches at the bottom of the smoke box, plus the strange vent on the top of the door. Built by Hunslet in 1950, the engine worked the yard at the colliery, as well as the coal traffic to Linneshore Moss, up through Walkden. The name, I believe, was originally from a naval warship. When the colliery closed in 1970, Respite went to Hague Colliery in Cumbria, where the crew's rough handling of the locomotives was notorious. In an accident there it rolled over, and despite the damage, Respite escaped scrapping. It was repaired and sent to Vicarage Colliery, only a short distance from its old stamping ground of Astley Green. Unfortunately, Respite had lost its cast brass nameplates for a piece of flat painted metal. I caught up with it during its first week of steaming at Vicarage in the spring of 1975. The driver was oiling up for the afternoon shift, starting with the difficult bits of motion between the frames, before getting on with the axle boxes and side rods. The crews were pleased with its performance and reliability. I visited there a number of times, and on one occasion, with a burnt patch on its smokebox door, I photographed Respite backing down onto a massive train of merry-go-round and 16-ton wagons, to double-head the train out of the colliery with another Austerity Spitfire. Respite was a regular engine for the rest of steam working at Vicarage, and I photographed it again on my last visit to the colliery in the summer of 1978. By this time it had been fitted with a home-brew, square-cornered diesel ejector chimney, replacing the original that had rotted through with rust. In 1979, Respite was the last steam locomotive to work at Vicarage Colliery before they went over to diesels. But that's not the end of the story. I'd arrived at Bolton Abbey with Stephen, and he started talking to a guy who turned out to be Respite's new owner. He introduced me to Russell Walker.
Well, you're the guy who owns Respite.
That's right.
And she was an Astley Green one, wasn't she?
Yes, it was, yeah.
It was, how do you come by it?
It went to the National Railway Museum, where it was cannibalised to make the broad gauge Iron Duke replica.
Oh yeah.
And then they had a clear out of various redundant items they didn't want anymore, and it was put up for tender, and I was the successful bidder. At the moment it's in 1,000 pieces. The axle boxes were all worn out, there were no pistons, so we've had to get some new pistons. There was no chimney, so we've had a new chimney cast. Half the rods were missing, but we've got those now. most of the pipe work's missing, so that's all got to be remade. I've got all the pieces now, which is the main thing, because when we got it, it was only about 3/4 complete. But now we've got all the missing bits. It's in the queue for being put back together. It can be expensive. It depends how much work you do yourself, really. If you try and do a lot of it yourself, then it keeps the cost down a bit.
So what attracted you to?
Always liked austerities, basically. So
What do you do normally?
for a living, I work for Network Rail. I'm a manager on Network Rail.
Oh, it's good to see a steam enthusiast on Network Rail.
Yeah, well, actually, I was into steam before that, you know. But I'm what they call the career railwayman, so I've been on the railway for 28 years now.
So Respite is now in good hands, though it'll be some time before it's steamed again. By now the Great Western tank engine was running round its train and coupling up for its return to Embassy. I made a request to the driver, David Hebden, to make a bit of a noise on the way back. This is a fine railway in the great tradition of British steam preservation and well worth a visit. So leaving Bolton Abbey in fine style, let's take a listen to the engine. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. There's a lot more videos to come.